So we're going to spend the next 20 minutes going through a series of applications that we've created to help with the revaluation process. It's called the Paperless Reappraisal system, and the concept behind it was to get rid of all the paper that happens in the revaluation process. So I'm going to jump into a few things, and once I finish, we'll have time for questions here. So this is an application here. It's leveraging framework from ArcGIS. I have a county here. This is Wayne County in Ohio. I've got their parcel information. So the scenario here is I'm going to be doing a desktop review of our data. So I've created a packet of information that is my work for today. So I'm going to zoom in here to these 10 properties that I've been assigned today. And what I'm going to do is pull out the information from the CAMA. So I've gathered the shape information from the CAMA. I've also connected up to the tabular data from the CAMA system as well. I can see information about the property, additions, dwellings. But what I'm going to do from this point is I'm going to go ahead and place sketches on the map here. So I can just drag and drop these shapes here, put them into place. If I need to rotate them, I can do that. If everything passes in this property as I've done my desktop review of it, I can pass that, hit OK. It's green. I can move on. Vacant property here, go ahead and pass that, no sketches. We'll do that. Move on to my next property here. This one looks good. We'll go ahead and pass this. Move on to our next one here. Looks good with the dwelling, but maybe there's an outbuilding here that hasn't been recorded. So we're going to go ahead and fail these folks. Drop in some notes here. Hit OK here. Now we have a failure for that one. So once I've gone through all of my work for the day, I can then move over into passing this out to the field. So this application right here is designed for a tablet to be used out in the field. I grab my work for the day. Just going to go ahead and search for that. You can see for those properties that we've been working on so far, they're flagged with their status. I'm going to go ahead and check those out. Right now I'm cutting out the data and going to download it. What it's going to do is capture all of the vector information. It's also going to clip out some of the imagery for me to have in the background. And it's going to put it in a package that I can then take out in the field. I can be disconnected and don't have to worry about the internet or any challenges with that. I'm grabbing some tiles here. Slow internet. We designed this initially to be used on Windows tablets and realized we needed to have an offline setting for it because folks would be out in the field and get Windows updates coming unintentionally. So we created an offline setting for it. For some reason, that download is not taking place. There we go. All right, now I can switch over into the field mode. Here I am out in the field, and I just have the information in the tiles that I need for that section. Nice square tile there. So then I can go into the information about that particular property. I can see the additions, the deletions that are available there. And then if I want to, I can make any edits to the attribute information that's tied here so that I can make sure that we have all the information that's accurate and up to date. I can then look into the sketches about that particular property and then add to that so that I would be able to then review the information back in the office. So once I've gone out in the field with this, you can snap pictures to it as well. I can bring the information back in and put that back into my master database of all the information. So once that's done, my folks in the administrative branch can then take a look at the status of the revaluation that we've had out in the field. Let me turn some of these parcel lines off. You can see as the county's being updated, the status changes. I can then take a look at work that's done by, and we can see the status that we've done for that particular work. Let's zoom in here. We're still in the field status with all those, so it just updates to this. And I can also search by user to see how well I'm doing. A little slow. Okay, so there we go. We can take a look at all the reviews that that I've been doing. So it's a really nice set of tools that allow you to move from doing your desktop review out into the field and then having this executive dashboard here. One other thing we've done with this is been able to integrate different data sources to this. So this is Kelly's Island. It's in Lake Erie, right north of Sandusky, Ohio. So the concept behind this was it's an island. How do you do an effective reappraisal when you might not be visiting this all the time? So you can see the status of properties in here, but as we navigate around this map here, still in this desktop review idea, you can see that this county has access to pictometry, so they have obliques available here. But we partnered with a company called Mapillary, and they have a service that allows you to do street level imagery. So you can see here as I navigate the map, I get updated with this street level information. Let's see if we can find a good spot here. And as I navigate the map, I'll be able to see information about each property. I'm going to refresh this app because it's not showing me everything I want. Let me just try this real quick. It's got some really neat features that I want to be able to show you all, so take the time to do that. Okay, there we go. Turn some labels off of here. Well, I am getting thwarted by the internet. I really wanted to show you all this section, so we'll switch over to. So this is the data collection that happened during this. They mounted cameras on this vehicle here and then drove around and were able to capture the street level imagery during their process. Let's see if it loads up. Nothing like working with software when you test everything, it works perfectly. Yes, but also I should be able to. This is where a geofence of where photos were captured, and so I should be able to see this cookie crumb trail of data that's collected. I'm going to give that a second to load up here, but we can take a look at how these folks. So with any device, I actually use it around Charlotte on my bike and just capture pictures along the way. They have some really interesting stuff where they can gather signs and other features with the tool. And then it can be stored up in the cloud, so you don't have to worry about hosting the imagery. It's just available there for you to access. So it's a really neat tool. Of course, it shows better when it works, but it gives you the ability to get current imagery. We have a couple of folks that put it on public utility vehicles and are able to drive around and capture information as they're doing their daily work. So you might check it out. It's called Mapillary. I'll show you their website here. You can see that's the cookie crumb trail that's left out. So it's a pretty cool tool. We can actually search in here, see some data that's captured. So this is all accessible from like an API if you want to bring it in to your own workflows. And there we go. We finally got loaded up. So you can see here, this is captured by the parcel point. And then we did a geofence around there. And so as we move through this map here, slowly, we're able to see a whole series of photos that are available, capture the date, capture the author. So a pretty neat tool there to have. Exactly. So we have 6 different apps that do an entire workflow. So does anybody have any questions? Yes. We do both. It definitely depends on your camera vendor, but what we typically have done is an ETL from the camera, either daily or weekly, feed it into this system. If we can push it back in, then we can set that up and do that. Otherwise, there is going to be a consideration of how do we capture that information back into the camera. So it really depends on the vendor. Yes. It is. So inside of here, we're leveraging the Esri base maps. We have counties that use their own imagery if they have an image service of that. We have the feature services registered through ArcGIS Online, but they're really in server and being able to handle the multi editors and things like that. So it's kind of a hybrid. Your ArcGIS Online use is not, you're not really going to get impacted by credits unless you stored your tiles up there, but it does leverage that infrastructure for the registering of features, but also the identity. So if I log out here, let me see if I can log into one that'll. Okay. Well, it might not let me log out, but I'm just using my ArcGIS identity, and so then that logs everything as far as records that you create and records that you keep. Yes, exactly. Yep. So so when we went out and did Kelly's Island, the auditor there, they call it auditors in Ohio, bought this equipment, attached it to the vehicle. I personally just use my iPhone and capture it. Through Mapillary, you can have a private cloud of images. So if you just want to capture your own stuff and just make it available for your use, you can do that, or you can put it into the public domain and then just leverage whatever you create and then whatever else is captured in the area that you're working. Yep, yep. So it's like crowdsource street level imagery. Um, their business model is really interesting. Like they have people doing this, and then they turn around and store it and make it available for you, and then you know, governments and businesses can access that for different applications. It can be. We we have um, we have a lot of counties that leverage it for doing like roof type or siding type. Some actually use it for address validation, so they want to retain the house number. Um, but you can, through their upload, you can have stuff that's blurred out. Cool. Any other questions or? Thank you. We're down in the vendor hall if you have any questions. And yeah, I'll turn it back over to you.